Hey, Eastern Oregon, thank you for joining me today on this version of AM Live on EO Alive, your connection to Eastern Oregon. So, a little out of sorts this morning. Kyle is sick and is under the weather, and didn't find that out until just a little bit ago because I was in a meeting and I didn't get his texts. So, hey, I'm kind of heavily dependent today upon having a conversation with you guys. And so be sure and jump in. Let me know you're here. And send me some comments, because if you don't talk with me, then I'm just going to be talking to myself. And this is really, I'm totally good with talking with Kyle. I mean, that's kind of what makes this work, is that we can have a conversation back and forth and kind of bounce back and forth. And then what you can't see is in front of me here, I have 3 screens. And, the one that I'm looking at, the camera that I'm looking at right behind that is the control screen for whatever it is that you're seeing. And then the weather is on one side, and then there's other information on the other. And so anyhow, there's just a ton of information that Dodsey and I normally deal with back and forth here. And while I'm talking, he can control stuff. And while he's talking, I can control stuff. But when it's just one person, it's a lot to do. So you'll have to excuse me if it's a little clunky this morning, and love to have a conversation with you. I think, I've got some stuff to roll through here with you, but I would love to talk about EOA Live and the branding that we're changing to EOA TV. Like to kind of know what you think about that and some of the platforms that you're watching on, maybe update you on some news that's happening. But glad that you're here, and glad that we can be together this morning. Let me kind of talk to you about a couple of things. One is CHD is one of our big sponsors for CHD Public Health, big sponsors for December. And the reason that is because they're doing a big push for vaccines that are available to local folks. And we just want to make sure that you are aware of a couple of events. And you're going to hear a lot of stuff from CHD Public Health from us this month. But a couple of things that are happening. One is there is a drive-through event that's happening right now at the fairgrounds every day from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's a drive-through event. You can get the first, second, and booster dosage of all of the vaccines are available, and the registration process has just happened right there for those people. I've talked to individuals who actually got their booster there, and they said it was very fast and very quick. And then along with that is tomorrow, there is one of those similar type events that is happening at the North Powder charter school in North Powder, and that is from 10 until 5. That's not a drive-through. I think that is one that you have to walk into, and then also the pediatric vaccinations are available at that clinic also. So anyhow, so be sure and just be aware of that information. So then another thing. So we're again in a partnership with Elgin Opera House, and there's a couple of shows that are happening. One is this weekend is the final show, and these tickets are not the exact right ones, but this weekend is the final show of Tuck Everlasting, and we are giving away free tickets to Tuck Everlasting to this weekend. So that's already on our Facebook page. Just go there and follow the instructions, and you can be entered to win. They have a show that is on Friday night at 7:30, and then on Saturday during the day at 12:30 and 4:30 is what I want to say. And Tuck Everlasting, great family show. And then also starting this weekend at Blue Mountain Community College is A Christmas Carol. and that is being presented at Blue Mountain Community College and with the Elgin Opera House folks. And we're going to be giving away 2 tickets to that show that will be happening in Pendleton. Now, after this weekend, then A Christmas Carol will happen out at the Elgin Opera House, and we'll be giving away 2 tickets each of those weeks. So you're going to see that a lot on EOA Live, where we'll be giving away 2 tickets for the weekend. So in other words, we'll give you 2 tickets, and then you can talk to their box office and see if they have room for any one of those shows that are happening that particular weekend. All right. So let's take a look. Let's take a look outside. Look at the weather. It's been kind of, let's see. I don't know if it did come up. No, here we go. So kind of snowy out there. I don't have any comments. Come on, man. If you're out there, tell me you're there. Tell me you're listening. need some encouragement. Anyhow, snowy out there today. It's supposed to warm up a little bit. Let's take a look at Gabe's forecast here. So it's not going to be below freezing anytime today. So it's going to be kind of melted and isolated showers, partly sunny at noon today, and then sprinkles and partly cloudy this afternoon. And then tomorrow, we're looking at similar wintry mix, 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. There'll be precipitation most of the day, but the winds are going to increase tomorrow. So, yep. So that's kind of, we've kind of started our winter. Here we are. Good morning, Jenny. Thank you for for saying hi. And Julie, thank you for saying hi. Appreciate that. So anyhow, so we're kind of just kind of where we are. We're in the middle of winter, and this is kind of what winter looks like. Although it's been really mild so far. I mean, I forget when it was last week. There was a time when, I don't know, it had to have been almost 60 degrees. The sun was shining, and I went out for a few minutes and sat down and just relaxed. Walked over to Sorbernauts and had a muffin and just relaxed for a few minutes. Got out of the office. So anyhow, so over the last year, we've really made, let's switch topics. We've really made a lot of changes to EOA Live, kind of kicked it into gear, the next gear. As you may or may not know, back up about a year ago, about 2 years ago now, the Johnny Ball Game Show came to our studios, and Johnny and Kyle Dodsey came together, and they were a package deal. Dodsey was Johnny's producer. They had been at a local radio station and were looking to get onto the internet in some manner. And we were looking for programming. And so they landed in our studio for about a year. Well, Johnny got a job in Boise at a big radio station there. And he went that direction. And Kyle ended up coming on as our programming director at EOA Live. And he's just been a tremendous asset for me. Before that time, anytime there was, there's 2 parts of our businesses, Brent Clapp Productions, and then there is EOA Live TV. And, when EOA Live started out, it was more of just a hobby, than anything, because the bills have been paid and still mostly are being paid by Brent Clapp Productions. But I personally was frustrated without having some kind of instant information or visual news locally here. And so we had one of our clients is Loveland Funeral Chapel, and we have streamed funerals for a long time. People are like, why would you stream a funeral? And it allows families to be a part of that service regardless of where they are in the world. So Kevin had talked to me way back in probably 2013 to see if we could stream funerals. And so then we figured out technologically how to do that. And that was early when streaming was complicated. It wasn't like on Facebook. It wasn't easy. Required to take a computer into the field and plug into the internet. I mean, it was a complicated process. So anyhow, once we figured out that technology, then it was like, well, we should do a football game. And so then we did an LHS football game, and then we did an LHS season. And then out of that came, well, we need to have a name, and it was La Grande Alive for years and years. And Will Bowman, who most of you know, Will was my right-hand guy then, and he was kind of the on-air talent also. And so then that began to expand, and then we did the news roundup, and so our programming has just continued to expand. So, and over the course of time, we changed from La Grande Alive to EOA Alive, Eastern Oregon Alive, and now we're making a big change that's going to be EOA.tv. And eventually we'll have our website that will be built on that location. Right now, if you type in EOA.tv, it will take you to the website where you may be watching this morning. So there's a big push to, Kyle and I spend a tremendous amount of effort every week figuring out the programming, figuring out how to pay for the programming, figuring out our sponsors, everything that I mentioned before, CHD and Elgin Opera House, they're sponsors of ours. So in other words, they're paying for our programming, and they're paying for us to talk about them, and that helps pay for the programming. So anyhow, but there's something very cool that I'm excited about, and that is that we are right on the edge of having a Roku app that functions really well. Now we've had a Roku app. I don't know, probably 6 months ago we started one. We tried to do it ourselves, and it was clunky and has not been functioning very well. And I would say by next week, we got a kind of a draft version of it that we are looking at the Roku here in our own office. And it's working really well, and it's going to be very cool. And people might not, well, what if you don't know what Roku is, then it's another box, or Roku is a streaming, it's a streaming box essentially, but Roku is built into many TVs. So it's kind of like Apple TV or Chromecast or Fire TV. One of those options is Roku, but Roku has a lot of those services that are all combined in one. But Roku has over 50% of the home market. So our goal, and it has been the goal literally for the last 7 or 8 years, is for you to be able to easily see this programming on your TV in your living room. And Roku will finally allow us to do that. And then we'll continue to develop it onto other platforms. But Roku is kind of the first one where we'll get to. And honestly, I don't have a Roku at home. So I'll be getting one of those and have it at home. But Roku has the advantage of having, HBO, Netflix, Hulu, all of those apps that you might use. All of those are in one location on Roku. So it is, and that's why it has so much of the market, is because it's a pretty handy little tool. But anyhow, when you go to our Roku channel, these are the cool things. The Roku channel, the first thing that you're going to see is a live box, and in that live box will be programming that will play. It will be our stuff. It will look like a regular TV channel. And so if you get home at night and you just want to watch something and you go to the live box, it will play this show that happened at that particular morning. It will play the sports show. It will play all of the stuff that has been recently, and it will chain that together. But here's the cool thing is that let's say that you're watching all of that, but there happens to be a live football game that particular night. Well, with that live event will come in live in that same window. So again, it gives you all the ability to not only see our programs chained together like a regular TV experience, but it also will put whatever really is live. And that's a little confusing because the live window is not necessarily live. It's live in the stuff that we put together. And then, but what really is live it will supersede whatever is programmed, and you'll be able to see that live. And then as soon as that event is over, it will go back to the program stuff. Now, below that, though, is going to be all of our on-demand stuff. So let's say that you just want to watch Dodsey's sports program. Then you would go down and there will be in different categories, and you'll go down to the sports show, and you'll find that day's version of the sports show will also be there. So anyhow, very excited about that. Been working to get that. And the other side of that is that our website will look very much like that. So it will have that same viewing experience as what Roku does. All right, a lot of verbiage there. So I'm curious to know what devices you guys watch on, and what do your friends watch on? And, how are you digesting news? Where do you get your information? Those are some of the things that we've kind of been wondering about. And, when I do, we do a lot of talking and you interact with us. Thank you, Jenny. But we don't get a lot of information still on whether our information is reaching you, how you're digesting it. We have the evening news roundup that is coming out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And we spent quite a bit of time and money in getting that off the ground. But I'm beginning to wonder if, how people are getting news. Is that relevant? Does that work for you? It takes a lot of money and effort to put together a daily newscast. And I don't know. I mean, I still like to go home every night and watch national news, but I'm 60 years old. I don't think anybody below 40 or 50 does that any longer. So then the question is, well, how do they get their news? How do they get their information? And all of this is talking about local stuff. I don't care about how people get their national news. I care about how they want to get their local news. So anyhow, we're very interested in still dialing that in, figuring that in. Part of it is because, I want to connect with you. I want to, I've had people ask me every once in a while, well, why, what is your motivation for doing EOA TV? And, our motivation is that I like telling cool stories that are happening here in the area. And, we are still primarily in La Grande, but we want to contact people in Baker City. We want to have people in Wallowa County, and we want to have people in Pendleton. We're very excited about this partnership with Elgin Opera House, because the Elgin Opera House is Terry Hale, who is the artistic director of the Elgin Opera House, he teaches at BMCC. And so we're going to be doing more and more stuff in the Pendleton area also. So we're excited about that. But if you all have any, hey, how you doing, Todd? If you all have any connections to people that are in some of those different markets, and you know that they're newsy, or that you know that they want to be connected, or they want to be a part. I mean, for us to be able to have Baker City news, for instance, we need to have somebody on the ground in Baker City that does the same thing for Baker City that we do for LeGrand. But of course, that information would come into EOA TV, and that would be a part of our news and information. So those are the kinds of things that we're trying to get off the ground, trying to make work. And like I said, really thankful for Kyle Dodsey being a part of our team. Alex McCadden is our news director, and he writes the evening news roundup and investigate stories that are going on. Megan Demersion reads our news, and there's just a tremendous team that makes this all happen. Gabe Curtis does our weather, and I can't tell you how cool it is that we have a local person doing weather. We're getting away from calling him our weather kid, talking our weather guy, because he just turned 17, and so weather kid doesn't really fit him as well as what it might have. But we're, and then of course, Bennett Welch, who you don't see very often. He is a college student, cross country track runner. His dad is Ben Welch, the coach, the cross country coach, or the track coach at EOU. And so Bennett is very involved. We call him Benny here at the office. And so he's our primary editor, and is the one that grinds out a lot of our post-production. I can do any editing that we need to have done, but it's not what I love at all. And as soon as I'm editing, that I'm not doing something else administratively that I need to do. So anyhow, well, hey, so do you have any comments or anything that you guys think that we could improve? Please put those in the comments. And Julie, yeah, you're right. Nothing ever about Eastern Oregon on the Portland news channels. Yep, it's funny. Every time we watch the Portland weather, you wonder, okay, are they going to mention LeGrand? We can see it on the map. Are they going to mention us? But I tell you, I don't. I have two of my kids live over in the Portland area, and there's not a single day that I wish I lived over there. We get the Portland news channels because those are really the only ones that we have access to. I mean, I know that we get Channel 7 out of Boise if you are a Blue Mountain Translator subscriber. But still, it's just both of those places are, Portland's 4 hours from us, Boise's 2.5 hours from us, and we want local stuff. That's kind of how Eastern Oregoners are, as they want local stuff. So, well, hey, and we're very excited about the Roku. Now, and some of you I know that some of you have. I mean, when we looked, 80 people had downloaded the Roku app, the older Roku app, and at some point you will have to delete the old one, and you will have to install the new one, and you will know that it's the right one because it will have. Let me see if I can find. It will have this graphic. This is our new logo. Excuse me. This is our new logo, and if you see that logo, then you will know that you have the new one. And again, so EOA is going to be kind of our branding going forward, EOA TV, and that is the literal URL, EOA.tv. So that'll be kind of the thing that we're pushing from time to time. So Well, I don't know. I guess let me just mention a couple of our sponsors again, real quick. There's a couple of CHD events that are happening that I don't want you to. If you need a vaccination, there are vaccination. There's a vaccination clinic, drive-through clinic going on right now out at the Union County Fairgrounds from 10 until 5 every day this week. All of the dosages of all of the vaccinations are available then. And then tomorrow at North Powder Charter School, there is a CHD public health event that is happening there. And again, same thing. People can get the vaccinations in those locations. And again, giving away tickets to Tuck Everlasting. This is the last show that's happening this weekend at the Elgin Opera House. And then they are opening A Christmas Carol. The Elgin Opera House folks are opening A Christmas Carol at BMCC in Pendleton this weekend. And then the following weekends, it will be at the Elgin Opera House. So, all right. Well, hey, thank you all for joining me this morning and hearing me kind of ramble on. And we'll be here again with you on Thursday right here. Hopefully Kyle will be with me. Thank you for watching our stuff, and talk to you soon.